When my parents stole 150,000 from my medical research fund to pay for my sister's dream wedding, I had a choice to make. The money would have saved hundreds of children in Uganda. But my sister deserved her perfect day. So I chose to save lives instead of attending her wedding. 8 years later, as I stand on stage accepting the Nobel Prize in medicine, they suddenly want to be part of my success story. But some betrayals can't be forgotten, even when they change the world for the better. My name is Dr. Emma Lawrence, and my entire life has been defined by a pattern so consistent it might as well have been genetic. My sister Olivia's wants always came before my needs. It started with small things. My college fund being borrowed when Olivia needed a car after her third fender bender. My high school graduation dinner cancelled because Olivia had a panic attack over a breakup. My academic achievements relegated to passing mentions at family gatherings while Olivia's latest hobby received standing ovations. But families are complicated, and I loved mine despite the imbalance. I worked hard, earned scholarships, and forged my own path to become a pediatric surgeon specializing in congenital respiratory disorders. By 29, I had developed a breakthrough treatment protocol that could save thousands of children in developing countries where medical resources were scarce. The Gates Foundation had noticed my early research and awarded me a prestigious $150,000 fellowship to fully develop and implement my treatment in Uganda. It was everything I'd worked for, the chance to prove my theory could save lives on a global scale. I was 3 weeks into my 6-month mission in Uganda when the call came. Reception was spotty in our remote medical camp, but my mother's voice cut through clearly enough. "Emma, darling, I need to discuss something with you about your bank account." I stepped outside the medical tent, the equatorial sun beating down as I wiped sweat from my forehead. Just hours earlier, I had saved a 2-year-old boy named Theo using my experimental treatment protocol. His grateful mother had wept as she watched him take his first unobstructed breath in months. "What about my account?" I asked, distracted by the surgery schedule for the next day. "Well, your father and I had to make a difficult decision." She paused, and I felt a familiar sense of dread. "We've transferred your fellowship money to help pay for Olivia's wedding. The venue she wanted just became available, but they needed payment immediately. It's $80,000 just for the location, and with everything else, well." The world seemed to tilt beneath my feet. "You did what?" "Mom, that money is for my research, for treating children who can't breathe. It's not mine to give away. It's a professional fellowship." "Oh, Emma, don't be so dramatic." My mother sighed, her voice carrying that dismissive tone I'd heard my entire life. "Olivia has dreamed of this wedding since she was a little girl. It's her perfect day. You're off in Africa anyway. What do you need that money for right now?" Through the tent flap, I could see Theo sleeping peacefully in his mother's arms. Yesterday, he had been suffocating, his tiny lungs struggling against a congenital defect that, in rural Uganda, was practically a death sentence. Today, he breathed easily thanks to the very treatment this money was meant to fully develop. "That fellowship was in my name," I managed, struggling to keep my voice steady. "How did you even access it?" "Your father is still a cosigner on the account, remember? From when you opened it during residency." "Really, Emma, you're being selfish. Olivia is your only sister. Don't you want her to be happy?" "Ah yes, Olivia's happiness, the sun around which our family orbited when we were children." My perfect SAT scores warranted a nod while Olivia's participation in the school play demanded a celebration dinner. When I graduated medical school at the top of my class, my parents left early because Olivia had called, upset about her latest relationship drama. "Mom, that money wasn't yours to take," I said, gripping the phone so tightly my knuckles turned white. "I earned it. Every penny was for saving children's lives." "Well, it's done now," she replied with finality. "The deposits have been made, contracts signed. Olivia is going to have the fairy tale wedding she deserves. You can always apply for another fellowship next year." Next year, as if children struggling to breathe could simply wait, as if my research timeline meant nothing, as if the lives I was trying to save were less important than flower arrangements and champagne fountains. "I have to go," I said coldly. "There's a patient who needs me." "Don't be dramatic, Emma," my mother chided. "And don't forget to send your sister a nice wedding gift. Something expensive. You make good money now." I ended the call and stood motionless under the African sun. trying to process what had just happened. Inside the tent, I could hear Dr. Nayak preparing for our next surgery, another child who needed the very treatment I was developing. Treatment that might now be drastically scaled back. Everything okay? Maya appeared beside me, her scrubs already stained from the morning surgeries. She'd been my friend since residency and knew my family dynamics better than anyone. They took my fellowship money, I said, still staring at the phone. All of it. For Olivia's wedding. Maya's face darkened. They did what? Can they even do that? Apparently Dad was still a cosigner on the account. I never thought. I trailed off, shaking my head. I never thought they'd go this far. What are you going to do? Before I could answer, Dr. Nayak called from inside the tent. Dr. Lawrence, we need you. New admission, 4-year-old with severe respiratory distress. I tucked the phone away, straightening my shoulders. What I always do. I told Maya. Save lives first. Deal with family later. The next few hours were a blur of activity. The 4-year-old, a girl named Asha, presented with exactly the type of respiratory condition my research focused on. Under standard protocols, her chances would have been minimal. But with my modified treatment approach, the one I developed using the fellowship money, she stabilized within hours. Later that night, as I updated my research notes by lamplight, I couldn't stop thinking about my mother's words. Olivia deserves her perfect day. As if my work, my dedication to saving lives, meant nothing compared to my sister's desire for an Instagram-worthy wedding. I opened my laptop and found Olivia's wedding invitation buried in my email. The digital card showed her and her fiancé James, investment banker, naturally, posed in front of a sunset, her massive diamond ring prominently displayed. The venue was a luxury chateau that cost more than most rural Ugandan hospitals received in annual funding. A new email popped up from Olivia herself. Emma. Mom told me about the fellowship situation. I know you're probably mad, but try to understand, this is my special day. And let's be honest, you're always so busy with your doctor stuff. You probably wouldn't have used that money anytime soon anyway. Besides, you can get more grants anytime. But my perfect wedding is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Don't be selfish. Love you. P.S. I registered at Neiman Marcus, *. I stared at the screen, a strange calm settling over me. This was classic Olivia, taking what she wanted, justifying it with emotional manipulation, then expecting gratitude for her selfishness, and our parents enabled it every time. A knock at my tent door interrupted my thoughts. Maya stood there holding 2 cups of strong local coffee. Thought you might need this, she said, handing me a cup. How's the patient? Asha's stable, I replied, gratefully accepting the coffee. The new protocol worked exactly as theorized. If I can complete this research, we could standardize the treatment across similar facilities, save thousands of kids. Maya sat beside me, glancing at my laptop screen. Your sister's still a piece of work, I see. I nodded, taking a sip of coffee. You know what the worst part is? They genuinely don't see anything wrong with what they did. In their minds, Olivia's wedding is obviously more important than my research, than these children's lives. So what's your plan? I closed the laptop, my decision crystallizing. First, I'm going to call Dr. Fisher at Johns Hopkins. He's been following my research closely. Maybe he can help secure emergency funding to continue the work. And second? Second, I said, a small smile forming. I'm going to focus on what matters. These kids. This research. My career. My family made their choice. Now I'm making mine. Maya squeezed my shoulder. For what it's worth, I think you're making the right one. Over the next few weeks, I threw myself into my work with renewed determination. Every child we saved, every breakthrough we made, strengthened my resolve. Dr. Fisher came through with some interim funding, not as much as we'd lost, but enough to keep the essential research going. Olivia's wedding came and went. I sent a card but didn't attend. Emergency surgeries don't reschedule for family events. After all, my parents left angry voicemails about my absence, about how I'd ruined Olivia's perfect day by not being there. I let them go to voicemail. Instead, I focused on documenting our results, refining the treatment protocol, writing papers that would eventually be published in leading medical journals. Every success felt like vindication, proof that I'd chosen the right path. One evening, About a month after the wedding, I received an unexpected email from Dr. Layla Patel, head of pediatric research at the World Health Organization. She'd read my preliminary papers and wanted to discuss implementing my protocol on a global scale. As I typed my response, agreeing to a video conference, another email arrived from Olivia. It was a link to her wedding photos, hundreds of perfectly staged shots showing off her fairy tale day. The final line of her message read, *, see what your sacrifice helped create? Worth every penny. Right, *. I clicked delete without opening the photos. My sacrifice hadn't created her perfect day. My sacrifice was saving children's lives, advancing medical science, making a real difference in the world, and I was just getting started. Dr. Nayak appeared at my tent, his face serious. Dr. Lawrence, we have an emergency case, multiple trauma, respiratory complications, we need you. I stood up, already reaching for my scrubs, on my way. This was where I belonged, not at overpriced weddings or family gatherings where my achievements were footnotes. Here in the field, doing work that mattered. My family had shown me exactly where their priorities lay. Now I was showing them mine. As I scrubbed in for surgery, I thought about the long road ahead. The research wasn't complete, but we were making progress, real, measurable progress that would save lives, and no amount of perfect wedding days could compare to that. Little did I know this was just the beginning. The work we were doing in Uganda would lead to discoveries that would change pediatric medicine forever. But that part of the story was still to come. For now, I had a life to save, and that was all that mattered. 3 years after Olivia's wedding, I stood in my lab at Johns Hopkins staring at the results on my computer screen. The data was conclusive. Our modified respiratory treatment protocol had reduced infant mortality rates by 78% across 20 different facilities in Africa and Southeast Asia. Dr. Lawrence, my research assistant Priya, appeared at my door. The WHO committee is ready for your presentation. I nodded, gathering my materials. The World Health Organization had taken notice of our success, and today's presentation could lead to the global implementation of our protocol. As I walked to the conference room, my phone buzzed with a text from Olivia, * Mom's 60th birthday party this weekend. You're coming, right? Time to let bygones be bygones, *. As if stealing my research money had been just a small misunderstanding, I tucked the phone away without responding. The last 3 years had taught me a lot about priorities, both mine and my family's. The conference room was packed with leading medical experts from around the world. Dr. Patel, who had become a mentor and ally, gave me an encouraging nod as I took my place at the podium. 3 years ago, I began. We faced a critical challenge in treating infant respiratory distress in low-resource settings. Today, I'm presenting a solution that has saved over 10,000 lives. As I walked the committee through our findings, I couldn't help but think about how different this moment might have been if my family hadn't taken my initial funding. The setback had forced me to be more innovative, to find alternative resources, to prove myself beyond any doubt. After the presentation, Dr. Patel pulled me aside. The committee was impressed. Emma, very impressed. They're recommending immediate global implementation of your protocol. That's incredible news, I said, feeling a wave of validation. There's more, she continued. The Gates Foundation wants to fund your next phase of research, $20 million. I steadied myself against the wall. $20 million, the kind of funding that could expand our work exponentially. They've been watching your work, Dr. Patel explained. Your dedication, your innovations, your results, it's exactly the kind of impact they want to support. That evening, as I sat in my office completing the paperwork for the grant, another text arrived from my mother, * Emma, this silence has gone on long enough. Olivia's pregnant. You're going to be an aunt. Surely that's more important than holding on to old grudges, *. Old grudges. I thought about Asha, the little girl we'd saved in Uganda. She had just started school. According to her mother's last update, I thought about the thousands of other children who were alive because we had found a way to continue our research despite my family's actions. I typed a brief response, * congratulations to Olivia. I'm in the middle of important work, *. Minutes later, my father called. I let it go to voicemail. * Emma, this is ridiculous. Asterisk his message played. Asterisk your sister needs her family around her during this special time. You can't keep punishing everyone because of one little financial disagreement. We raised you better than this. Asterisk. One little financial disagreement. The dismissiveness still stung, even after all this time. But I had learned to channel that hurt into determination. The next morning, I met with my research team to plan the expansion of our program. The Gates Foundation funding would allow us to establish treatment centers in 50 new locations, train hundreds of local medical professionals, and save countless lives. Dr. Lawrence, Priya said as we wrapped up the meeting. CNN wants to interview you about the WHO implementation. They're calling your protocol a revolutionary breakthrough in pediatric medicine. I thought about my father's words. Asterisk we raised you better than this. Asterisk yes, they had. They had raised me to work hard, to pursue excellence, to make a difference. It wasn't my fault that they only seemed to value those traits when they appeared in Olivia. The CNN interview aired globally. I talked about our work, the children we'd saved, our plans for the future. I didn't mention my family or the stolen fellowship money. Success, I had learned, was the best response to betrayal. That evening, Maya called. She was now heading her own medical mission in Southeast Asia, implementing our protocol in remote communities. I saw your interview, she said. You were amazing. Have they seen it? Probably, I replied, knowing she meant my family. Olivia sent me a text saying I looked tired and should try her new skincare line. Maya snorted. Still the same Olivia. Did you tell them about the Gates Foundation grant? What's the point? They'd probably suggest I give it to Olivia for the baby's college fund. We both laughed. But there was a bitterness to it. The pain of family betrayal doesn't go away, you just learn to build something meaningful around it. The next week, I received a formal invitation to my mother's birthday celebration. Inside was a handwritten note from Olivia. Asterisk come on, sis. Stop being so dramatic about ancient history. Mom needs all her children there. And I need my sister during my pregnancy. Besides, your medical career obviously worked out fine without that money. Everything happens for a reason, asterisk. I placed the invitation in my desk drawer, next to the others I'd received over the years of wedding, anniversary, baby shower, holiday gatherings, each one a reminder of the choice they had made and the choice I had made in response. Dr. Patel found me in my lab later that day. The preliminary data from the new treatment centers is extraordinary, she said, spreading papers across my desk. We're seeing success rates that were previously impossible. I studied the numbers, feeling a familiar surge of purpose. This was what mattered. This was what I had fought for. The Nobel Committee has taken notice, she added casually, watching my reaction. Keep doing what you're doing, Emma. Some prizes are worth more than others. That night, I stood at my apartment window, looking out over the Baltimore skyline. My phone showed 5 missed calls from my mother, 3 from Olivia, and several texts about the birthday party. I turned it off. On my desk sat the latest medical journal with our research on the cover, and beside it, a letter from a mother in Thailand whose twins were alive because of our protocol. These were my celebrations, my perfect days. My family had chosen Olivia's fairy tale wedding over my life-saving research. I had chosen to prove them wrong in the most powerful way possible, by succeeding beyond their wildest expectations. And I was just getting started. 5 years after the Gates Foundation grant, I stood in Stockholm's Karolinska Institute, barely breathing as I read the email that had just arrived. Dr. Lawrence, your research on pediatric respiratory treatments has been nominated for the Nobel Prize in Medicine. The committee requires absolute discretion until the official announcement. My hands trembled as I set down my phone. Years of work, countless challenges overcome, had led to this moment. Before I could process the news, another message arrived. This one from Olivia. Emma, you'll never believe it. People magazine is doing a feature on America's most successful families, and they want to interview us. Mom told them all about how our family supported each other's dreams, you with your medical stuff and me with my influencer career. They're coming next week, *. The irony was almost laughable. I archived her message without responding and turned back to my research data. We had just completed a 10-year follow-up study on our first patients, including little Asha from Uganda. The results were remarkable. Not only had our protocol saved their lives, but it had also led to better long-term respiratory health outcomes than anyone had predicted. Dr. Patel appeared in my doorway. "I assume you received the Nobel Committee's email?" I nodded, still stunned. "Is this real?" She smiled warmly. "Very real. Your work has revolutionized pediatric medicine," she added with a knowing look. "Though, you'll need to attend some high-profile events when it's announced. Your family might notice." "They notice what they want to notice," I replied, thinking of Olivia's message about the magazine feature. "They've spent years rewriting our family history to fit their narrative." That evening, as I packed up my notes, my father's number appeared on my phone. After a moment's hesitation, I answered. "Emma," he said, his voice carrying that familiar mix of authority and manipulation. "This silence has gone on long enough. Your mother misses you. Olivia's kids don't even know their aunt. And now with this magazine piece." "Dad," I interrupted, "I'm busy with important work." "More important than family?" he challenged. "Your sister's built quite a following with her parenting blog," he continued. "She could really help promote your medical work if you'd just." I ended the call, my jaw tight. Some things never changed. Even now, they saw my life's work as something that could benefit Olivia's social media presence. The next morning, headlines across the medical community announced another milestone. Our treatment protocol had been adopted by every major pediatric hospital worldwide. My inbox flooded with congratulations from colleagues and grateful messages from parents whose children we had saved. Among them was an email from my mother. "Darling, saw something about your medical work online. That's nice, but really, this feud has gone on too long. Olivia's doing a parenting workshop at the Four Seasons next month. She's willing to give you a speaking slot about children's health. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Time to be a family again, asterisk." A speaking slot at Olivia's workshop, as if that compared to the thousands of lives we had saved, the global impact we had made. I archived her email alongside the others. Dr. Fisher, my old mentor from Johns Hopkins, stopped by my office later that day. "The whispers about the Nobel are getting louder," he said, closing the door. "Any thoughts about the ceremony? Family usually attends." I thought about the moment my parents had chosen Olivia's wedding over my research, how that betrayal had fueled me to work harder, reach higher, prove myself beyond any doubt. "My real family will be there," I said, thinking of Maya, Dr. Patel, and all the colleagues who had supported me when it mattered, the people who believed in this work from the beginning. That night, I received a final email from Olivia. "Emma, you're being absolutely ridiculous. Mom and Dad gave me that money because they knew I would make good use of it. And look, they were right. My wedding photos went viral, launched my influencer career, and now I have millions of followers. Everything worked out perfectly. Stop being bitter and celebrate your family's success, *. Attached was a photo from her wedding day, her in her designer dress, surrounded by our beaming parents, all of them radiating joy and satisfaction with their choices. I opened my laptop and pulled up a different photo, one taken just last week in Uganda. Asha, now a healthy teenager, stood proudly in front of her school. The caption read, *alive because of Dr. Lawrence's protocol. Dreams of becoming a doctor. This was my perfect day. This was my success story. The Nobel Committee would make their announcement soon. The world would know what we had accomplished, how many lives we had saved, and maybe, just maybe, my family would finally understand what they had dismissed so easily all those years ago. But their understanding no longer mattered. I had learned that some achievements don't need family validation to change the world. I closed my laptop and looked out at the Stockholm skyline, feeling a deep sense of peace. The path here hadn't been easy, but it had been right. And in the end, that was all that mattered. The morning of the Nobel Prize announcement, I sat in my office at the Karolinska Institute, surrounded by my research team. The live stream from the Nobel Committee played on the large screen before us. My hands were steady, though my heart raced. The Nobel Prize in Medicine, for groundbreaking work in pediatric respiratory treatment revolutionizing global infant care, is awarded to Dr. Emma Lawrence. The room erupted in cheers. Maya, who had flown in from Southeast Asia, hugged me tightly. Dr. Patel wiped tears from her eyes. My phone immediately began buzzing with congratulations from colleagues worldwide. Then came the messages from my family. First, Olivia, *OMG Emma, this is amazing for my brand. Can I do a live reaction video? My followers will go crazy. We should collaborate. Growing up with a Nobel Prize winner would make such great content, *. Then my mother, *darling, why didn't you tell us? We had to hear about it from the neighbors. Your father and I are hurt that you kept this from your family. We're booking flights to Stockholm right now, *. Finally, my father, *princess. This is incredible news. Your mother and I always believed in you. We need to coordinate with Olivia's social media team for the ceremony, *. I set the phone aside and turned to the people who really mattered, my team. The colleagues who had supported this work from the beginning. The ones who understood that this wasn't about fame or social media content. It was about saving lives. Dr. Patel approached with a small package. This arrived from Uganda this morning, from Asha. Inside was a handmade card featuring a drawing of a doctor helping children. The message read, *Congratulations. Dr. Lawrence, you saved my life. And now I'm starting medical school next year. You showed me that anything is possible. That afternoon, as reporters gathered outside my office, my parents and Olivia arrived unannounced. They breezed in, dressed for the cameras. Olivia already live streaming on her phone. And here we are, surprising my brilliant sister. Family is everything. Followers. I stood up from my desk, my Nobel citation in hand. Turn off the camera. Olivia. Something in my voice made her comply. My mother stepped forward, arms outstretched. Darling, we are so proud. Stop, I said quietly. You don't get to be proud now. Emma, my father started. Whatever happened in the past. You mean when you stole my fellowship money? When you dismissed my research as less important than Olivia's wedding? That past? Olivia rolled her eyes. Are you still upset about that? Look how everything worked out. You won a Nobel Prize. No, I corrected her. I won this despite what you all did. Not because of it. This prize represents thousands of children who lived because we found a way to continue our research after you took our funding. I turned to my parents. You can't rewrite history now. You made your choice years ago. Olivia's perfect day meant more than my life's work. We're still your family, my mother protested. No, I said, picking up Asha's card. My family is the team that supported this work. The colleagues who believed in our mission. The children we saved and their parents. They're my family. But the ceremony, Olivia pressed. The photos, the press coverage, will not include you. I finished firmly. My invitation list is already set. Dr. Patel will present me. Maya will be there. The people who stood by me when it mattered. You can't exclude your own family. My father exploded. You excluded me first. I replied calmly. When you took money meant to save lives and used it for a party. Actions have consequences, even delayed ones. I pressed the intercom. Security, please escort my visitors out. As they were led away, Olivia still protesting about her follower count. My mother turned back. We really did believe in you, Emma. No, I said softly. You believed in yourselves, in your own justifications. I had to believe in myself. After they left, Maya appeared with 2 cups of coffee. You okay? I looked at the Nobel citation, at Asha's card, at the photos of all the children we'd saved. You know what? I really am. The next month in Stockholm, as I accepted the Nobel Prize in Medicine, I looked out at the audience. Dr. Patel beamed proudly. Maya wiped away tears. Colleagues from around the world, children we'd saved and their parents, they were all there. My real family. My birth family watched the ceremony on TV. I heard later, Olivia tried to post a reaction video, but her followers called her out. Someone had dug up the old wedding photos and timeline. But that didn't matter anymore. What mattered was the work we'd done, the lives we'd saved, and the future we were building. Sometimes the family you choose becomes more important than the family you're born into. And sometimes winning isn't about proving others wrong, it's about proving yourself right. I am Dr. Emma Lawrence, Nobel laureate, and this is just the beginning.